one wrong state line, and your concealed carry permit becomes worthless paper, leaving you facing felony weapons charges even though you're licensed. Today, I'm breaking down 5 states that instantly void your permit reciprocity, turning law-abiding carriers into criminals. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which states to avoid and how to stay legal when you cross state lines. Just last month, 3 permit holders were arrested at state borders because they didn't know these reciprocity rules. One faces 5 years in prison. Another lost his gun rights permanently. This is happening right now to licensed carriers who thought they were protected. Number 1. California. Your concealed carry permit, no matter which state issued it, has 0 legal standing the moment you cross into California. Here's the reality you're facing. You're driving Interstate 40 from Arizona into California with your properly secured firearm. You have a valid Arizona CCW permit. You've carried legally for years. The moment you pass that Welcome to California sign, you're now in possession of a concealed weapon without a California permit, which is a criminal offense under California Penal Code 25400. Under California law, this is classified as a misdemeanor for first-time offenders, but it carries up to 1 year in county jail and a $1,000 fine. Here's what makes this devastating. California does not recognize concealed carry permits from any other state. 0 reciprocity. Even if you have permits from multiple states, even if you're a law enforcement officer from another state who's retired, California doesn't care. In 2023 alone, over 400 out-of-state permit holders were arrested at California borders and airports for carrying with non-California permits. Here's exactly how to stay compliant. First, before you enter California, secure your firearm in a locked container separate from ammunition. Second, transport it in your trunk or a locked area not accessible from the passenger compartment. Third, do not stop in California if you're just passing through. Use the most direct route possible. Instead of assuming your permit travels with you, understand that California requires its own permit process, which is extremely difficult for non-residents to obtain and may take over a year. The only legal way to carry concealed in California is with a California-issued permit. But there's one state where even permit holders from constitutional carry states get arrested immediately. Number 2. New York State. If your permit comes from a constitutional carry state, New York treats you like an armed criminal the second you arrive. This scenario plays out every single week. You have a permit from a state like Arizona, Alaska, or Wyoming, states with constitutional carry. You fly into JFK Airport or drive into New York for a family visit. You declare your firearm, you have it properly locked, you think you're following the rules. New York law enforcement arrests you anyway. Under New York Penal Law 265.01, criminal possession of a weapon is a Class A misdemeanor carrying up to 1 year in jail and a permanent criminal record. But here's the nightmare. If you have a loaded magazine anywhere near your firearm, even if they're in separate locked cases, prosecutors can charge you with intent to use, which elevates this to a Class E felony. That's 4 years in state prison. In 2022, a Tennessee permit holder spent 8 months fighting felony charges in New York because he had his unloaded Glock and a loaded magazine in separate TSA-approved cases at LaGuardia Airport. He was fully compliant with federal law. New York didn't care. Cost him $45,000 in legal fees. New York only recognizes permits from states that New York deems have similar or stricter requirements, and that list is virtually non-existent now. As of 2024, New York effectively has no reciprocity agreements with other states after their Concealed Carry Improvement Act took effect. Here's your survival strategy. First, do not bring your firearm into New York State unless you have a valid New York pistol license. Second, if you're flying through New York airports, understand that even being in transit can trigger arrest. Use alternative airports like Newark or Philadelphia. Third, if you must transport through New York, federal law under the Firearm Owners Protection Act allows you to transport unloaded firearms through the state if you're traveling from one place where it's legal to another place where it's legal, and you don't stop except for gas and emergencies. Keep documentation proving your origin and destination. Instead of risking a felony, completely avoid carrying in New York unless you've gone through their permit process, which for non-residents is nearly impossible. This next state has sent more permit holders to court than anywhere else in America. Number 3. New Jersey. Your permit doesn't work here, and the ammunition in your gun could land you in prison for 18 months. New Jersey has zero reciprocity with any state and some of the most aggressive enforcement in the nation. Picture this common scenario. You're driving down the New Jersey Turnpike from Pennsylvania to Delaware. just passing through. You have a valid Pennsylvania permit. Your firearm is loaded in your center console for protection. New Jersey State Police pull you over for speeding. They ask if you have weapons. You honestly answer yes and show your permit. You're arrested on the spot. Under New Jersey Statute 2C 39-5, unlawful possession of a handgun is a second-degree crime, carrying 5 to 10 years in state prison and a mandatory minimum sentence. New Jersey doesn't have misdemeanor gun charges. They go straight to felonies. But here's what shocks most people. If you have hollow point ammunition, which most carriers use for self-defense, that's a separate fourth-degree crime under 2C 39-3F, adding 18 months in prison. In 2019, a Philadelphia resident with a valid Pennsylvania permit was sentenced to 3 years in New Jersey prison for having his legally owned handgun with hollow points while driving to his mother's house in Delaware. He stopped for dinner in New Jersey. That stop cost him everything. New Jersey law explicitly states they do not honor any out-of-state permits. Not one. Even law enforcement officers from other states have limited carry rights under the Law Enforcement Officers Safety Act, and they still face scrutiny. Here's exactly what you must do. First, never carry a firearm in New Jersey unless you have a New Jersey permit, which is extremely difficult to obtain and requires proving justifiable need that courts routinely deny. Second, if you're transporting through New Jersey under federal FOPA protections, your firearm must be unloaded, locked in a case, in your trunk, completely inaccessible from the passenger area, and you cannot deviate from your direct route. No stops for meals, no hotel stays. Third, remove all hollow point ammunition before entering New Jersey because possession of it is illegal regardless of FOPA protections. Instead of assuming federal law protects you fully, understand that New Jersey aggressively prosecutes FOPA cases, and you'll need to prove in court that you were in continuous transit. That means keeping receipts, GPS records, and documentation of your travel. The next state will arrest you even if you're a law enforcement officer. Number 4, Illinois. Outside of Chicago's extreme restrictions, the entire state of Illinois will void your permit and arrest you for carrying without an Illinois-specific license. Here's how this destroys people's lives. You're traveling from Indiana to Iowa, cutting through Illinois on Interstate 80. You have a valid Indiana carry permit. You stop for gas outside Joliet. You leave your firearm concealed in your waistband because you've carried legally your whole life. Someone spots your weapon printing through your shirt and calls police. Illinois State Police arrive and arrest you. Under Illinois Compiled Statute 720 ILCS 5/24-1.6, unlawful possession of a firearm without an Illinois FOID card and Illinois concealed carry license is a Class A misdemeanor for first offense, carrying up to 364 days in jail and $2,500 in fines. But if you're in certain restricted areas like gas stations near schools or parks, it becomes a felony. And here's what makes this career-ending. An Illinois gun conviction, even a misdemeanor, can strip your right to possess firearms in other states. In 2021, a Missouri truck driver with a valid Missouri permit was convicted in Illinois for having his handgun locked in his sleeper cab without Illinois credentials. He lost his CDL, his job, and his gun rights nationwide. Illinois has limited reciprocity, but here's the trap. They only recognize permits from states that have substantially similar requirements to Illinois law, and Illinois decides what's similar. As of 2024, Illinois recognizes permits from only a handful of states, and even then, non-resident permits from those states aren't honored. If you have an Arizona non-resident permit, Illinois doesn't recognize it even though they recognize Arizona resident permits. Your compliance strategy is this. First, obtain an Illinois non-resident concealed carry license before you carry in Illinois. The application takes 120 days and costs $300, but it's the only legal way. Second, if you're just transporting through Illinois under FOPA, ensure your firearm is unloaded, cased, locked in your trunk, and inaccessible. Do not deviate from your direct route. Illinois police and prosecutors look for any reason to say you weren't in continuous transit. Third, understand that even with an Illinois non-resident license, Chicago has additional restrictions that can still get you arrested within city limits. Instead of risking it, avoid carrying in Illinois unless you've completed their full licensing requirements and researched every local restriction. This final state treats gun owners like terrorists at their borders. Number 5, Hawaii. Your mainland permit has zero authority here, and Hawaii treats every gun as a potential crime scene. This is the reality for thousands of travelers. You're flying to Hawaii for vacation. You're a responsible permit holder from Florida. You want to bring your firearm for hotel room security. You follow TSA rules. Declare it. Lock it properly. You land in Honolulu. At baggage claim, Hawaii law enforcement is waiting. You're detained and possibly arrested. Under Hawaii Revised Statute 134-25, carrying or possessing a concealed firearm without a Hawaii license is a Class B felony punishable by up to 10 years in prison and a $25,000 fine. Hawaii is the strictest state in America. They don't recognize any mainland permits. Zero reciprocity. Even if you're a police officer from another state, you need special authorization. In 2018, a retired NYPD officer was arrested in Hawaii for carrying under the Law Enforcement Officers Safety Act because Hawaii challenged his credentials. It took 14 months and $60,000 in legal fees to clear his name. Hawaii requires every firearm to be registered with the county police within 5 days of arrival. Even if you're just visiting for a week, you must register. And here's what makes this impossible for most people. To get a Hawaii concealed carry permit, you must be a Hawaii resident, prove exceptional circumstances showing danger to your life, and go through a process that historically approves less than 1% of applications. Here's your only legal path. First, do not bring firearms to Hawaii as a tourist. It's not worth the felony risk. Second, if you're moving to Hawaii permanently, register every firearm within 5 days at the local police department with proof of residency. Third, understand that even with registration, carrying concealed requires a permit you almost certainly won't get. Hawaii is an open carry prohibited state, and concealed carry is nearly impossible. Instead of trying to navigate Hawaii's gun laws as a visitor, leave your firearms on the mainland. There is no practical way for tourists to legally carry in Hawaii. Here's what nobody tells you about all 5 of these states combined. Let's recap the 5 states that will void your permit and arrest you on the spot. 1. California doesn't recognize any out-of-state permits. You're carrying illegally the second you cross the border. 2. New York treats constitutional carry permits like criminal enterprises and will charge you with felonies for loaded magazines. 3. New Jersey has mandatory minimum prison sentences and will prosecute you for hollow point ammunition alone. 4. Illinois requires state-specific licensing and will arrest you even for transporting firearms incorrectly. 5. Hawaii treats mainland permits like they don't exist and will charge you with felonies for simply having your lawfully owned gun. Any one of these mistakes could cost you $50,000 in legal fees, years in state prison, and the permanent loss of your Second Amendment rights. These states have destroyed the lives of law-abiding gun owners who simply didn't know the rules. Don't let confusion about reciprocity laws put you in handcuffs. Subscribe to Guns Law Guide so you never miss an update that could keep you out of court and protect your freedom. I break down complex gun laws every week with the exact information you need to carry with confidence and stay legal everywhere you go. Next video, I'm covering the 7 places your concealed carry permit doesn't protect you, even in permitless carry states. We're talking about federal buildings, school zones, and post offices where one mistake means federal felony charges. You won't want to miss it.